Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. This is episode 228. We are a Paul McCartney solo-centric podcast where we deal with all things solo McCartney. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it just amazes me, how many different topics we can still come up with after so many years of talking McCartney, and every once in a while, Beatles McCartney will come up as well because hey, let's face it. I mean, that's part of his long history. And to celebrate this amazing career, I get to do this show with an amazing friend, a guy that I'm very happy to do this show with. He is my backwards traveler, my buddy Andy Nichols. Andy, my friend, how you been?
Okay, Tom, and hanging in there. We're down for the count for a couple of days. Being sick, but on the mend, and happy to be back here for 228. Hot on the heels after a really, really great 227, which got us a lot of views and comments. So thank you, everybody who supported that special show. And as Tom mentioned, mainly solo Paul, but I mean, this is Beatles time, man. I mean, you can't avoid it, right? With all the news.
Right. Well, I mean, with Now and Then, people are like, well, I mean, if you're a solo Paul show, why are you doing a Beatles show? Well, listen, Paul's has his fingerprints all over Now and Then, right? I mean, thanks to him, we pretty much have this song finished. Listen, if it wasn't for his will to want to complete the song, maybe we would never have it. And then also thank you to Peter Jackson as well.
Yeah.
For Mel. And speaking of Mel, we'll get to more Mel later on here.
We will. Malvember.
Malvember. But listen, yeah, that's the thing about this show. We love Paul. We love solo Paul. We want to bring, solo Paul, his career to the forefront. We want to, this show to celebrate the man's amazing 50 plus career. I mean, look, there's other shows that talk Beatles and nonstop Beatles, but we really want to focus, and this is for the new subs because we've gotten a lot of new followers lately and a lot of new subs and just to tell you about the show is we really, I mean, listen, we don't agree about everything, right? We have our own opinions and that's for people to either agree with or disagree with and leave those leave those your opinions in the comments and
that's it, baby.
And you either can like our opinions or not like our opinions and then the fun part is to see everybody's opinions on this because everybody's is different, right?
And we could not talk about Now and Then. I mean, I know, yes, we are a Paul solo podcast, but I mean, if we were just going to gloss over Now and Then and not even talk about it at all, I mean, come on, we had to. Paul is one of the driving reasons why, as you just pointed out, the song was finished. Mm-hmm. As we highlighted, you knew he was always urging to do it, and that's why we had to talk about it a little bit, and so here we are in the fourth quarter, and the Beatle Christmas. It's like Christmas in November because everything just came out, and we're enjoying it, Paul is on tour right now, as of this recording.
Right.
When it posts, he'll have played 2 shows in Mexico City. I hope he plays Backseat of My Car, but he probably won't. Won't happen. He should, but he won't. And then a little bit of a break, and then on the 30th of November, the tour then picks up and goes into Brazil and South America properly, and all those cities down there.
He will play back to Brazil, though. I guarantee
he'll play then, and then the last date of the tour is the 16th of December at the Macarena Stadium in Rio de Janeiro, where, if you recall, which is where he set that that attendance record in 1990 on the 89-90 World Tour record. So he's returning to that same arena.
Yeah, he had the record for a year, and I think it was broken the following year.
It was, and our friend from Fans on the Run, Joan Borelli, was going to the Mexico City shows. I don't think she is now. No. So if anybody out there is going to any of those shows and want to kind of give us a little take on the concerts, hit us up with an email and let us know. But Paul's ending the year touring, which is great. Not exactly where I thought he would be at ending touring the year. I didn't think he'd be going to Australia or Brazil or South America. Thought he would get some more shows in England because they haven't seen him really other than Glastonbury since
Right.
2022. I really thought a proper UK tour, small dates in December, in and around Liverpool would have been where he would have gone, but he's making the rounds and doesn't look like he's stopping.
No, no, and that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's recording. He's still recording new music. We know that he's recording with Andrew Watts. And we'll get to we'll
Oh
talk
yeah,
about Andrew later on in the
yes we
show
will.
because today's show is about recent collaborations, right? Paul McCartney is I mean has tons of collaborations out there in his
All right.
career, and these are the recent ones that have taken place this year.
Oh,
Before we get to that,
yeah.
but
Before
go
we
ahead.
do, go ahead. No, go ahead, Tom.
No, before we do that, I do want to bring up a comment here because this is something that I've been, we should do more because we get a lot of good comments, we get a lot of great comments, and we get some comments that with some constructive criticism, and that's great as well. But one comment that I do want to read, this was from our documentary show that our friend Kyle Hand gave us the idea for
Oh
that
yeah,
show. But this comment is from David. And it goes, this week's intro is a reminder of how much you guys have sacrificed in time and more to provide so much content so consistently. Hope you're proud of having built this community and that it still feels worthwhile. And that right there means a lot because we do try to stay fresh and talk about current topics and try to bring different thoughts to many different subjects in McCartney's career. So thank you for that comment. That was really nice of you.
great comment, and thank you. And that's the name of the game. We all have our own lives that we have to live and deal
Right.
and focus on, and families to look after, and so forth. And the fact that we can carve out some time to spend an hour on most times talking about Paul with the people that appreciate him and love him like we do too is that's all we want to do.
Right. That's all we want to do.
That's all we want, and just
It's our
we open it.
escape, right?
If it's our escape, if we turn some people on to some new songs or new books or new albums or anything, and then we're doing our job.
And speaking of new books and new albums,
Oh,
Andy, my
oh.
friend, you have had Christmas a lot recently.
Yes.
And
Yes, I have, and damn it, I haven't been able to enjoy it as much as I wanted to, battling this damn
Right.
sickness the last week. But it started
let's
with
first
Mal,
let's show with
or Now and Then?
let's go with Mal because our buddy Ken Womack
Right.
is shipping out
Yep.
copies of.
So
of the
thank
Mal
you,
book.
Nicole Michael 910 PR for a copy of Ken's new book, Living the Beatles Legend: The Untold Story of Mal Evans. I started it this past week. I'm up to chapter 3. By the time this posts, Ken right now is going crazy with the promotion. He was in LA Sunday with Mal's kids. He'll be in New York on Tuesday night, the 14th. And then he'll be in Cleveland on Friday night. And again, this is all after the fact by the time you're watching this, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, doing a launch there. And I believe former Two Legs co-host David Gargolino will be on site there. Kid O'Toole will be there.
Yep.
So that's a really, and I briefly thought about going to it until I realized there was a New York event on Tuesday night. And then he's actually going to be doing another New York appearance on Sunday night, the 19th at the City Winery. So bravo, Ken. Again, I'm only chapter 3 into it. Mal just started really just kind of hanging out with the Beatles. But I know it's going to be fantastic. And again, other than speed reading that thing back there that we got last year, this is be the most celebrated, book to look at and really dive into. And I know you're going to get your copy soon too, hopefully.
Yep.
But thank you, Ken, for this gift, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about it in the coming weeks and months ahead, and of course at the fest too as well. So congratulations on this is going to be so richly received and well deserved praise.
Very,
Okay.
very good. Now, the Now and Then. Now, people, teased us a lot, right, about, going all in on McCartney 3, right? Going all those different,
Well,
the different, well, exactly. But you really went all in on the Now and Then.
I did.
Well,
you did
yeah.
not though, right?
Well, I went back and I did.
After the fact.
So, After the fact. So I mean, I did get the Target Red. Okay, I did get
Yes.
the Marble. I did get the Marble 7-inch. Both of those I do have. Now I did order the cassette as well. I'm still waiting on that damn thing. Hopefully, yes. And there you go. There's the cassette, which I love the cassette.
Yeah.
That is kick ass.
There you go.
Yeah, open it up and I mean, have you taken the cassette out yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure have.
Okay.
Plenty of that.
Yeah.
Little insert. You don't get in the cassette that you get with the vinyl. You don't get the full.
Okay.
You don't get the full description of the story and the clock and all the
Gotcha.
backstory with the cassette.
Okay. Okay.
Just the basic credits. And listen, I wasn't crazy about the artwork either. I'm warming up to it. But there she is.
All right.
The cassette.
There's the cassette. Excellent.
All right.
Now it had what was it? John's handwriting for Now and Then.
Yes,
right?
and Paul's for Love Me Do.
For Love Me Do. Okay.
Right, and there's plenty of Now and Then merch now on if you look on the Beatles site or the Fest that have Now and Then shirts and stuff with John's handwriting on the front and Paul's on the back.
Right. So then they started restocking stuff on the Beatles website. So I did go back and I did get the clear 7-inch, the black 7-inch, and the CD single.
Right. Now here is
that's the blue.
That's the blue.
Yeah, which is a nice shade of blue.
Yeah, it's kind of more like aqua.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's the blue vinyl. Here is the standard, the black.
Right.
Okay. Standard black. Parlophone on the and the marble. Still waiting on the clear. The clear didn't come yet for whatever reason, but this is the marble.
Okay. Yeah. So, the marble's really nice. I mean, obviously the picture right now is not doing it any justice, but
no, because you can't see with a little bit of a glare. But there's nice marble shade in there as well. And then of course, did you get the 12-inch black?
No, the red's fine.
Yeah. So there's the 12-inch black, and the red really was the gem. You got the red the first day, right? That it was on sale.
Yeah, I had to go to two different Targets. I went to one that's close by to where I live, and then they didn't have any, but they did tell me where I could pick one up. So then I went there.
Was it
she
far?
Had 3 copies.
Oh, they did.
Not too far, but they would only sell me one.
Why?
Because it was a special release. As she said.
So if you bought it, went out, and went back in and bought it again, was she going to say no?
Probably not, but I didn't think to do that.
That's okay. I got a copy from the MVP, so thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, MVP.
That's it. Yes, and then of course, ba-boom. Yep. You got the CDs.
Yes, I got the CDs. They're in my car right now.
Yeah, but this is it. The colored one. Now, I'm still wrapping my head around the track listing thing. I really would have preferred if the LPs were just like the CDs. Having the third record, just with the extra tracks, really kind of it doesn't flow the same way. On the CDs or the streaming version, it's presented in the order chronologically as it should be. Just throwing a second LP in there, make it a proper trifold, like David said the other night on our text, like the anthology, right? Real proper trifold. I've played these through once, and they sound much better on an analog system, as Mr. Physical Media you are. I know that you'll appreciate physical than over any streaming thing anytime, and you definitely do. Interestingly enough, I am surprised with the vinyl that they went with the capital look for the labels for this. They did not mirror the UK one. In other words, so this is like more the capital issue in America. This was not the Parlophone label. The Apple labels on the UK's look a little bit different, and I'm surprised they went with those for this release.
Now those are a little translucent, right? A little bit. The red and the blue.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not going to take them all out. I'll show you one blue one before we jump into our show proper. But this arrived on the 11th. So it was released on the 10th and came out. The box is decently sized. I'd say it's the same consistency of the Abbey Road 3 CD. It's the same kind of material quality as the Abbey Road one. I did see a lot of comments. I think Mazzy had a really nice video talking about you really can't tell that there's no difference between the albums. Like there should have been something on there saying, remix, or like, they're just not very distinguishable, and that there should
Okay.
have been something on there saying, "Hey, brand new remixes," other than just a hype sticker. And I kind of agree with him
Hmm.
a little bit.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Here's the
There's the
blue.
blue. Okay.
Yep.
Very
And
good.
I listen, as far as Walrus Gate goes, I love the new version of I Am the Walrus. I think it's fantastic. It's experimental. As you and I discussed,
Right.
if you want to hear I Am the Walrus in its original monaural state or stereo state, go back and listen to it on one of the original CDs.
Right. Right. That's the great thing about these remixes is that they're not the be all to end all. I mean, the originals still exist, right? I mean,
Yes.
you can still go to the store, go on Amazon, still get the
Yeah.
originals.
Yeah. You can. So it's just a different listening experience. If you don't like it, then listen to
Right.
something else. There's the classic gatefold from the Mad Day Out session in May of '68.
Yeah.
Over by St. Pancras Church which is right down the road from Euston Station, believe it or not, in the British Library. Remember walking by there. So yeah, and it is weird having Now and Then open up side 5. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to go with this kind of beginning to end chronology, having the bonus disc of the vinyls open up side 5 with Now and Then just doesn't flow right. Do you agree?
Mm. Well, I mean, having Now and Then period, whether it opens up a side or ends the CD, I mean, I still am processing that. Still not 100% sure how I feel about not having the other two on there as well. I mean, listen, you say what you would. Look, I Want You, She's So Heavy is a fantastic track.
Yes.
Great deep cut, and I love the song. But I would have much rather have had Real Love and Free as a Bird on there, with Now and Then, instead of that. I mean, and I've said many times that I'm not the biggest fan of those two tracks, but still, I think it makes more sense having those two tracks on there than say, I Want You, She's So Heavy.
Or Within You Without You.
Well,
But
I mean, I
you
think
would have
more. I think that track is very highly appreciated more these
now.
days.
You're right. But
And
you
then,
would yeah, you would agree though that they wanted all the attention to be on the last song, and
oh,
adding Freeze a
absolutely,
Bird and Real
absolutely,
Love to this would take away from that a little bit.
a little bit. However, I mean, those two songs has a big fan base as well. I mean, I've noticed a lot of people talk about how much they love those two tracks the last couple weeks.
Yeah. I know you're not too keen on them. I don't know if your opinion changed on them. No, you're not too keen
No,
on Freeze a
no,
Bird, but
especially Free as a Bird. I just feel like it's just so slow. Especially
wow, okay.
the free. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
to each his own. But
yeah.
listen, I to echo something that Ken Michaels frequently says, it's nice to get any Beatle product and to get a new song bundled with it. The last song, game over.
It's
We're
Yeah,
in.
I agree with what Ken says, but it still doesn't mean that you can't criticize
Of course
the
you can.
product.
You can, and I have some criticisms with it, like some people have said. I do. Down to the timing of the whole thing, the announcement, the late announcement. It was really, I mean, it was worse than Revolver. And Revolver was kind of enough already, and this was even a little more prolonged. Big shout out to Andrew from Polagram too, who dropped a awesome video last night on his channel. Give his channel a subscribe. If you haven't seen it, he does a great job breaking down the video, the song, and the facts, and all the detail that went into it. Just a great job by him, and give his channel a follow. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm waiting for the CD single still, but yes, the CD
Okay.
single
Yeah.
and the clear, and that'll complete my Now and Then collection.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm still waiting on the cassette, the clear, the 7-inch black, and the CD single. So, yeah, I'm really happy. The more you hear the track, I think that it gets better with each listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing it overly too much or trying to talk about it too much because I don't want to get too burnt out on it.
Correct.
But yeah, I'm still really enjoying the song. So
Yeah. So let's get
yeah,
to our show
yeah.
today.
So the recent collaborations, right? Throughout the years, Paul has done many collaborations with many people, whether it's Brian Wilson or Steve, to Steve Martin to Stevie Wonder, and the list goes on and on and on, and then 2023 has been no exception either. But so 4 very high profile collaborations that he's done in 2023, and we're just going to go over them, give our thoughts about them, and we want your thoughts on these tracks as well. We're going to start off with the Dolly Parton's "Let It Be."
Mm.
Now,
we going
this
in
was
order?
kind of
Are we going in order of release, Tom? Okay.
kinda. This is an interesting one because that we know Dolly Parton. She's a country pop artist. She's been around for 50 years plus. She's been around for a long time, and this album of hers, it's called Rockstar.
Rockstar. Yeah.
Rockstar. Now this came out of being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She has said that she doesn't feel like a rock artist. However, we know that rock and roll spawns from different genres of music. So I think that she belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's just my opinion. Um, but it's kind of exciting to see her do something like this. Again, the track is "Let It Be." Paul is featuring Paul McCartney, piano and vocals. You got Ringo doing drums. You got Peter Frampton on guitar, and then you've got Mick Fleetwood on percussion.
Okay, I didn't realize those other two gentlemen were on the track.
Yeah. So now this album is when this gets posted on the 18th, I believe, right?
Yeah, the album already been released.
On the 17th, right? So this has been a long promotional campaign for this album because the single was dropped on August 18th. So the single has been for "Let It Be" has been out for many months now.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, "Let It Be." Now this one, it's not the worst Beatles cover I've ever heard, but it's not the best Beatles cover I've ever heard. Paul is all over this on vocals. I do like their response. When she sings "Let It Be," then he'll follow with the "Let It Be." I kind of like that. Now the highlight for me on this song is Peter Frampton's solo.
Yeah,
he just really knocks it out of the park on this one. She sings it fine, but again, it's not the best cover I've ever heard.
She just sounds very old when she sings it, like it's warbly a little bit, I listened to all these 4 songs and I kind of rated them out of 5. I rated this version of "Let It Be" 3 out of 5, more for the production and the musicianship, as you pointed out, than the singing. You've got a really, really older Dolly Parton and an older kind of croakier Paul kind of and responding. Right. This I just was not in love with it. It's nice that Paul and Ringo were both on it, supporting her. I think it's pretty cool that they got together and she did a version of "Let It Be." But but again, I'm not one for listening to Beatle or Paul covers either. If I want to hear the song, I'm going to the original artist. So,
right.
In certain instances, where he'll guest on another song, like some of the other ones we're going to talk about, they're a little bit better. But I all due respect for her to tackle "Let It Be." It just she sounds a little old singing it, and it just comes across in her voice when you listen to it.
Yeah. No, I dig the production, like you mentioned. Paul does get the final "Let It Be."
Yeah.
He does. In the track. So I don't know if that was planned or not. I'm sure the file was sent to Ringo, and he did the drumming in his own studio, which apparently that's been his norm.
Yep.
For the last couple years, him getting the file and then him adding drums or whatever to it. But yeah, let us know in the comment section what your thoughts are.
There's a lot of other interesting tracks on this album that she's releasing.
Right.
Magic Man, Open Arms with Steve Perry.
Right.
Purple Rain, Baby I Love Your Way. Keep on Loving You with Kevin Cronin from REO Speedwagon, Heart of Glass.
Right.
Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. So it's 30 tracks. So I think it's cool that she's doing a whole double album worth of covers.
This is a 4 LP set.
Yeah.
This is a 4, 2 CDs, 4 LPs.
Will you buy it?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
This one I won't buy. No.
Okay. I just had to ask.
Yeah. Listen, well, I mean, never say never, but Um, but anyways, so
All
that's
right.
again that's the Dolly Parton's "Let It Be." Let us know in the comments section what you think
Yeah,
on
I
that
went
one.
3 out of 5 on that one.
All right, all right. I don't know if I would have maybe 2.5 out of 5 for me.
All right.
Um, anyways, next up we're gonna go to uh, "Feeling the Sunlight," Ringo Starr, and here we go right here. This is the latest EP. Rewind forward. Um, "Feeling the Sunlight" is a track written by Paul. Okay, which a track on a Ringo EP or album hasn't happened in a while. From a written track by Paul. I mean, he's guest appeared on bass or vocals,
Like
but
on Why
him
Not and stuff like that.
right, yeah, exactly. But for him to actually write a track
An
for
original
Ringo had to,
composition. Since
yeah,
when?
I don't think it since "Stop and Smell the Roses." I think
That
there
long?
was there was the track that he gave Ringo called "The Angel in Disguise." I think it was called that
Mm-hmm.
one went up for auction a few years back.
Yeah.
But it just didn't make the album. I think that was for the "Time Takes Time" album,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. If anybody out there knows exactly if that was it, let us know in the comments section. But again, Paul's all over the song. Now, according to Bruce Sugar, which who he appeared on a few past episode of Things We Said Today, according to Bruce Sugar, the track was there was a demoed by Paul. So Paul sent a demo. So there is a demo out there. Would love to hear Paul's
Yeah.
version of this track. And speaking of Things We Said Today, I want to give a shout out to our friend Alan Cozen for the nice comment or the shout out about two legs on the episode 400 of Things We Said Today. Congratulations to those guys. I've been listening since episode 9, and they actually talk about that episode. It's the with Ken Michaels and Steve Mariucci. It's about the Magical Mystery Tour
Hmm.
episode. And if you haven't, go to their YouTube channel, check it out. And that was the episode that got me hooked on to Beatles podcast. I mean, that was the first one I listened to, really.
Yeah,
So
pioneers,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was a segment of the show where they were talking about recent podcasts,
right.
for their 400th show, they invited Steve Marinucci back on, Al
And Al
Sussman,
Sussman, yep,
because they were originally on the show along with Ken
right.
Michaels and
Now, if they really
Alan
wanted to get
Kozin.
technical, they could have invited Robert Rodriguez because he was there for I think it was one or two
Oh,
episodes,
really?
and then yeah,
So
yeah,
it was just nice,
yeah,
and down, of course, Darren DeVivo. How could I forget? So
yes,
it was with all those guys, and Alan was. And then when Ken asked all the hosts, do you listen? Do you get a chance to listen to other Beatles related podcasts?
right,
And they're so prolific and busy in their own careers that they didn't really get a chance to. And although Al Sussman listed a whole bunch of he listens to, it was really cool to hear that. And then they asked Alan Kozin, and he shouted us out. So I'm really, really, and if anybody who doesn't have the time, the man who's writing a book
right.
on the McCartney Legacy Volume 2, he gave us a shout out. So that was really nice to hear. So thank you, Alan.
Yes, absolutely, much appreciated. So getting back to the "Feeling the
Yeah, feeling
Sunlight."
the
Now,
sunlight.
this is a one of those songs that Paul probably could have wrote in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Maybe it feels like it, but melody wise, musically wise, I really enjoy this.
yeah. I got this one
It's a
as
poppy little track. I mean, now lyrically, there's nothing to write home about. Feeling the sunlight. Which Paul comes in for some vocals. Now Paul's also bass, guitars, keyboards, zither, and backing vocals. You know, um, so I mean, it's a fun track. I think it's up there. The 4 tracks is probably now my second favorite track on the album, followed by Miss Jean, which is pretty much a little Heartbreakers reunion track on the Rewind Forward, and that's fantastic. But it's just so light and poppy, and it's just a feel good little track. Positive, which Ringo likes. So it just moves, and it's a nice little 3 minute track.
Yeah, if Paul sang this song, maybe I'd like it a little bit better.
Of
Uh,
course.
but it doesn't do anything for me. I tried. I listened to it twice. It's just more of the
Right.
same old for me. I rated it 2 out of 5.
Eh,
Uh,
maybe. I
uh,
don't know. I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. But
no,
I think it's just a good upbeat little positive number, which
it
feel good
is.
number,
But
like I
but but
said.
anything that Ringo's written and produced since 2000
Right.
and whatever is all the same thing.
But he didn't write this though.
No,
You
he did
know.
not. But he sings it, and if Paul sang it, I think I'd like it a hair better.
Right. So obviously, so this was a do-it-yourself track by Paul. Obviously, they took the drums off because Paul drummed on it as well. So Ringo added his drums on there as well, and the vocals. So again, I think it's enjoyable. I like it. Let us know in the comment section what you think about this one. But this EP came out October 13th, and you know again, I was really looking forward to hearing this track, and it really didn't disappoint. Again, these simple lyrics that you get, like find my way, simple lyrics, but musically, you get really excited about it. That's
Musically,
how I.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, musically.
yeah,
So next,
yeah. Okay, so next up we get to a little rocker from from
yeah,
a
baby.
from this new little band from England called the Rolling Stones.
Oh,
Don't
you
know if
actually
you've
went out
heard
and
of
bought
them
you bought this
before.
you bought the CD.
Now this I did buy, yeah, because I've heard a lot of great things about this, and would I have bought it if Paul wasn't on a track? I don't know, but but like I said, heard a lot of great things. So on
Oh,
their recommendations, I picked it up, and I tell you what, excuse me, as I guess we're both fighting something off here. Um,
hmm.
this album. I played this twice in a row. This was my lead off
That was your road trip.
CD.
That was your road
It
trip
was
CD.
my yeah, exactly. This is my lead off CD as I left from Arizona to come here to Michigan, and I tell you what, it did not disappoint. This
Great
whole
album.
album,
Great album.
is exactly. I think Tell Me Straight might be the weakest of the, and I think that what is that Keith, is that Keith
Yeah, that's the
singing on
Keith.
that
That's the
one?
Keith singing one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's probably my least favorite, but every track besides that is I think a winner.
Yes.
But on this episode, we're going to be talking about the track "Bite My Head Off," which is 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 hardcore. Hard rock. The kind of stuff that I like. The kind of stuff that you're on the highway and that song comes on. The next thing you know, you're doing 90 miles an hour.
Yes.
You know. You
This
know
this track,
what?
out of all the collaborations he's done this year, this track's the winner. This is the best one he's been on. It sounds like it's almost like it could have been on Back to the Egg. It's got that frenetic bass playing. It's like up
Right.
tempo rocker. And that's the one thing I'm going to say about all these tracks. Paul's vocals might be whatever, but his bass playing at 81 is still awesomely good and ridiculously talented for a man who's 81. Listen to Bite My Head Off. Listen to the bass playing on this track. Off the
Right.
charts. Good. And
Yeah, I agree. It's a fuzz bass,
yes.
right? The album was produced by Andrew Watts, who McCartney suggested to the
Mm-hmm.
Stones, since he had been working with Watts already.
Yes.
Now he did do another track with the Stones, which apparently will be on the follow-up album.
Yes.
So apparently they've recorded half of an album already for a follow-up to this one. So Paul will return on another Rolling Stones track. But what I really like, I like the rough lyrics. I like the swearing,
Yep.
in this track. I like that Mick gives Paul a little shout out there, and then you get a little solo bass from Paul on this one. This is just a fantastic rocker that I was not expecting.
No.
Not expecting
Not at all.
from the Rolling Stones.
No, and it's just part of the whole rest of the whole album, as you said, is great.
Right.
this track just kicks even, and then you got Paul on it playing bass.
Yeah.
You know,
Forget about it.
what a welcome surprise here at the end of 2023 to get a brand new Rolling Stones album. That, listen, let's be honest, we're not the biggest Rolling Stones fans, right? But you know, it's other than the hits. But to listen to that album, I mean, it sounds good. When a record is good, a record is good. And this whole record, again, aside from that one we talked about, I think all of it. I mean, I know we're talking about Bite My Head Off, but the whole album is fantastic.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
But I mean, it's frenetic, it's high energy, and that's evident, you know. So Paul has not lost a step with his bass playing, okay? And if you think he has, then you're lost because he's killing it here on this track.
Oh, absolutely. And mixed vocals are he killed it on vocals on this track,
Yes.
and I was really impressed with his vocals throughout this album. I mean, there's some singers that are able to keep. Well, I mean, I don't think none of the tracks are really vocally demanding.
No,
Kind of like
they're rock,
Paul throughout Paul's career, but to have him, I think he's 80 now, right? Too.
Yep.
So I mean, to have him, give these vocal performances on this album, just fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. If you've not listened to Bite My Head Off yet, please go listen to it because it's really good.
Absolutely. Let us know what you think. Last up,
Last one.
is
Rest in peace, Mr. Jimmy.
yes, Jimmy Buffett. Now this is another one where you would never expect. If you didn't read some articles and what like that, you would never. I don't think I would have ever expected a Jimmy Buffett, Paul McCartney, little collaboration here. Now they've been friends for the better part of 2 decades now. They go to dinner together. Him and his wife and Paul and Nancy. They would go out to dinner a lot, and I guess Jimmy, would ask, advice from Paul about, recent songs and stuff like that. So this one, the now it's called My Gummy Just Kicked In, which is fantastic in my opinion. And you can see why Paul would probably want to be a part of this
You think?
part of this track, knowing his past with substances. But since gummies are all the new rage now, and but the reference is from Nancy. Like I said, Paul, Nancy, and Jimmy and his wife were out to dinner, and all just out of the blue, Nancy just blurts out this "My gummy just kicked in" line, and then Jimmy turned it into a song, which is it's not a bad little song. I'm not the
No.
biggest Jimmy Buffett fan, but there's a few songs that I like. "Come Monday" is I think my favorite of his hits of mine. "Cheeseburger in Paradise," yeah, that's fine, and "Margarita," fine. "Margaritaville," fine. But this is actually a really cool little number. It's came out November 3rd. The album's called "Equal Strain on All Parts." Now Paul plays bass on this one. There is a YouTube clip that you can go onto and watch the recording of this track, and you can see Paul playing bass, and then behind the console, listening to the track. Now this track does have a little bit of a Caribbean feel.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
hear
you
some
get
of
the
that steel.
drums.
You hear the steel
You get
drums
the
in it,
steel
which is
drums.
nice.
Yes.
So it's like you
Yeah.
don't normally associate a rocking beat song and then hearing the steel drums
Right.
in it, which is nice in this song. And again, it's kind of
Right.
just kind of like "By My Head Off," which is a supreme fast rocker. This one's dialed
Right.
back a little bit more, a little bit less,
Mid tempo. Yeah,
but
mid tempo.
but still very very enjoyable track. I have this rated 4 out of 5.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
this
wow.
I loved this one. Yeah.
Yeah. There was, yeah, just enjoyable lyrically. It's fine. I like the gummy in her tummy, line in there. Really fun. There's a nice little pedal steel guitar in there as well, which I'm a big fan of the
Yep.
pedal steel guitar in there. But it's not as prolific as the steel drums are in the track.
No.
But really nice little track. Now, will I buy this one? I'm not 100% sure.
No.
I don't have any Jimmy Buffett in my collection to begin with, but if
He's
check it
worth
out on
getting.
YouTube.
It's
Yeah.
worth it. It's worth a listen. Even if you get, I mean, I have one Jimmy box set called Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, which is when he used to play all of his gigs. So I'd call myself a casual Jimmy Buffett fan. There's a great, you never heard the song Fins? You know that song Fins. You must know that song.
I'd have to hear it. Yeah,
that's class. There's some, I would say I'm an average Jimmy Buffett fan, but he's got some really great songs. And it was nice that they were able to collaborate. And one ended up being Jimmy's last album. Sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly,
so this isn't one of those albums that he dies and then they put a bunch of unreleased tracks out. This
No.
going
Yeah.
to be released, prior to his
Yeah.
death. So so unfortunately he just wasn't able to. He didn't make it to the release.
Yeah.
But hey,
track.
listen. I mean, he's got a big fan base. People love going to his shows, having a great time.
Yes.
At those shows, drinking, lots of. Hey, listen, I've had many a great time with margaritas. Let me tell you. But for me, my favorite. I mean, I just love the fact that it's my gummy just kicked in. I love that. I love that line. I like it. I like the track. I like the track a lot, actually.
Yeah, and I do too. And out of these 4 recent collaborations, I rated probably the second best one after the Stones song.
Wow.
And I didn't think it was going to be that good. I was like, Jimmy Buffett and Paul, what's it going to be like, And I played it to prepare for this, and I really enjoyed it. Because it wasn't, it was Jimmy Buffett, you think it's more kind of breezy, chill,
laid back,
and
rock.
And that's not this song. That's not this song at all. So maybe Paul brought a little of that rocker to Jimmy on this one. Said, hey, why don't you rocketify it a little bit there, Jim? So, and I think you can hear it on the track. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going.
Right.
But my gummy just kicked in. Good. That's the chorus.
Right.
That's the hook of the track.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. It is good.
I thoroughly enjoyed that track very much.
I'm glad to hear that.
That's But again, the overall theme here is the man's bass playing, even on the Ringo track. Okay.
Right.
It's phenomenal. Okay, yeah, his voice is not what it was, nor will it ever be. But the man can still play bass damn well. And
Agreed,
all of these
100%.
tracks, aside from "Let It Be," because he's not on bass on that, you can hear it. You can hear it on all the other 3 songs. "Feeling the Sunlight," "Gummy Kicked In," and especially "Bite My Head Off."
Right. Well, what you're not going to do is bury a Paul McCartney bass track, bass line.
No.
In the mix.
No, and just as a side note, to take it back to some of the new mixes, a lot of people say that the bass is so punchy. All the Beatles songs are so punchy now when you hear all this bass, and whether that was Paul having a hand in it or Giles was remixing this stuff for because he knows this is what the younger people want to hear. They want to hear stuff punchier and up front, and you do on especially on the Red album now you do.
Absolutely.
You hear it.
Yeah.
Stuff like I Want to Hold Your Hand and things like that. So just to bring it back to that, but the bass playing, 60 years on, is fantastic. And we'll see what happens in 2024 for collaborations down. I'm sure there'll be a few.
Well, let's hope for a new record as well. I mean, that's what I'm really hoping for in 2024.
Yeah, here we are now with almost 3 years on now from McCartney 3.
Right. Yeah.
I remember sitting here talking about it with you, and getting that email of the leak of "Find My Way" that station in England played but shouldn't have played. Remember?
No, I think that was no. I forgot the guy's name, but no, that was for here in the States.
It was here.
It was a breakfast. Yeah, it was a breakfast for the Beatles show.
Oh, was it Dennis Mitchell? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. I forgot his name.
I just remember they played it.
Right. I think he did get a little slap on the hand for that.
I'm sure. All the Apple and all these NDAs they make you sign. Listen, invite me, Apple. I'll sign all the NDAs you want.
Right.
We'll be there. So,
love to go to one eventually. So again, it's just to I would probably say "Bite My Head Off" is my favorite of the 4.
Yeah.
Followed by, probably a tie with, "Feeling the Sunlight" and my gummy just kicked in, which I might give a little slight edge to "My Gummy Just Kicked In" just because of the humor of the track. And then unfortunately, the "Let It Be" cover would probably be bringing up the rear.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I would have. I probably would have Let It Be, Bringing Up the Rear, and then Feeling the Sunlight, just because Paul did write the song and played on
Right.
it, and then and then Gummy Kicked In, and then Bite My Head Off.
Yeah.
I would agree largely with you on
Yeah.
that, partner.
All right, cool. So I would imagine that we're going to get, today, actually today, what is the date today? The 13th?
That we're recording,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So just today, we're getting the official. I don't know if I wouldn't know if you would call it the official, but I guess the John Lennon website now has the
Yes.
Mind Games box sets
So
uh
one weekend
being
after the
promoted.
Beatles stuff comes
Yeah,
out, we're gonna get where JohnLennon.com is gonna show you a teaser that the
right,
Mind Games Super Deluxe is coming out in June of 2024. Finally, the
right.
30-year wait coming to an end with that one.
Yeah, and and I'm sure we're going to get an announcement soon for the 50th anniversary of the Band on the Run. I'm sure the trend will continue. We'll get a half-speed master.
I think that'll be a low
You
key
know,
release. I don't think it'll be widely
no,
promoted.
no, no. Right, right. No, I nor do I. I mean, none of these half-speed masters have been really, they have been a massive promotional campaign or anything like that. But I mean, that is the album that pretty much put him on the map as a solo artist, right? I mean, so I would say that maybe that one would get a little bit more attention. Attention.
E-
uh,
Everybody needs attention. So
it's a
what?
right.
Everybody's gonna get their 15th copy of Band on the Run in December with a half speed.
December or January or February. I mean, look, I mean that wildlife one, Half Speed Master. I think that ended up coming out in February, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Yes.
Even though it was released in December, I
Yeah.
think we
Well,
ended up getting it
again,
the following.
it took a few months, obviously, with the because again,
Right.
these are not pressed in as many quantities as say the Red and the Blues,
Correct. Right.
or Now and Then. They're just not. So
No.
I'm sure we'll get that. I mean, he's not gonna release a half speed. He's continuing this trend of that. So we'll have to see
Yeah.
when I am sure maybe at the end of November you'll see on PaulMcCartney.com, half speed master
Yes.
now for sale, blah blah blah.
Right.
It'll be very quiet. No big. No,
Pre-order.
that's
Yeah.
it, and that'll be it. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many copies of Band on the Run I have now, but it's quite a few.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
quite a few.
same.
Yeah.
All different versions, countries, territories, labels, you name it.
Exactly. Right.
That's it. But again, from August, from what was it? From October of 2022 till November of 2023, went silent. Right? We had Revolver last
Mhm.
year, and then nothing, and then until now, this past week.
Well, I
With
mean, besides, yeah, but music-wise, yes. I mean, we did get a book.
yeah, I'm
For
talking music wise. Yeah, but we got the book and some of the and obviously there's been other stuff too about it, but I mean, in terms of major releases, that's it. So
hmm
we'll see, but it is a happy time to dive into all things Beatles and Paul and the history, and again the Mal Evans book. Congratulations, Ken Womack, and be sure to
Right.
pick up a copy of that as well too, because it's
And make
if
sure you read it. Don't
yes,
just pick it up. Read it.
read the book, read it.
Right.
Read the book. If ever a story deserved to be told, it's the one of Malcolm Evans. And I'm really happy that in light of his attention in the Get Back documentary from 2021, where you saw him so much, it sparked up
Right.
a lot more interest in him. And those of us that have been in the know forever know how important Mal is. But now it's like he's into the stream of consciousness of the general people who are actually trying to find out who this guy is and why he was so special in the Beatles Live, and no better person to write it than Mr. Womack. So
Mm.
I can't wait to, over the holidays and continue to dive through and finish this book.
Yes, and after all the promotion, take a break there, Ken. You've been a busy boy the last several
It's
years.
3 years,
Uh,
3 years, three
yeah.
years in the work with this.
Right, I mean, but yeah, but the books prior. I mean, the two volume set of George Martin
Oh
bio,
God,
right?
yeah, all of his book.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, all yeah,
Solid State.
Solid State,
Ha-
2019, the Lennon
right,
book.
the Lennon book, the George Harrison and Eric Clapton book he did with Krupa.
Yep,
Just,
nonstop.
well, yeah, one hit after the other. So maybe it's time to, take a breather, enjoy life for a while, and we'll definitely see Ken at the fest in February. So
Yes,
looking forward
and we'll
to
both
that.
be there.
Yes, yes. I've
We'll both be
been
there.
telling them. I've been telling them at work, because I started a new job here in Michigan, and it's just like, they already know. So
You
it's
told
like,
them that
I'm
weekend in
going.
February.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes, and we were promoted on the Fest's website as featured
Yes.
podcasters. So if you haven't seen that on thefest.com, check it out. We're there,
Yes.
and we're really happy to be a part of the 60th arrival of the Beatles in America and the 50th
Right.
Fest. The
The
50 years
50th
of the Fest.
anniversary of the fest.
New
That is going to
York,
be really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
New York in February, and Chicago in August.
Yeah. Andy, what do you got? Anything coming up? You've
Yeah,
been kind of. I know you've been not feeling well. You've been under the weather, but you gonna do anything with your
my own show.
other?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to see Bob Dylan in about a week here in New Jersey, and I'll have a review of that concert. That's Bob Dylan's continuing his never-ending tour. And this is
Wow.
the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour, of which is still his most recent album from 2020, which is still phenomenal. And
Mm.
most of the set list is that, and I'm seeing that with a couple of friends, and I will have a recap with all my friends that I'm going to that show with on my own channel. Probably the week of Thanksgiving. That'll be on my channel as well. So look for that. Interesting too. I know that Dylan is one of those artists where they make you put your phone in one of those little.
Oh, no kidding.
You can't have it out.
Wow.
You have to put your phone in one of those like plastic tuckaway things, and you can't have it out. Otherwise, his people will come running after you.
So how does that work? Because I remember working a show in Vegas, and I was buying a shirt at the time, and they were making people put their phones into something or whatever. But I mean, it just seems like would take forever to get people into the stadium, and then forever to get everybody out because now everybody's got to get their phone again.
Right. I don't know. I've never had to do this. I've seen
Okay.
Dylan twice previously. I just had it on me, and they just had people walking around making sure you didn't take it out. I've never actually put it inside this pouch thing, so which I'm
Okay.
not too keen on doing. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right.
And I respect Bob. He's like, look, you're at an event. Enjoy the event. Don't be on your phone.
Exactly. Exactly. 100%. I mean, look. I mean, if you're gonna go to these shows, you want to, have that memory, you know, capsuled into your brain. However, I do understand the other side of it as well. Okay. Now, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I have taken many a picture
Oh,
at a
sure,
concert
we all have.
myself. But yes, it does take away from the moment. And you want to be in the moment,
Yes,
enjoying
I
enjoying that artist.
if we're gonna have phone, I kind of have a rule. Like I at the beginning of the show, I might have it out for a little bit just to get some video and pictures, and then it's going away for the rest of the night. I might get the first song or two or whatever, a video, and Paul comes out on stage, and I get a clip of a early song in the set, and then it's going away, and then I'm never gonna take it
Right.
back out again. I don't have it out all night long, you know. No, no, no,
Right.
no, 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 no. Put it away. Put the phone away. So
All
yes, I
right.
agree. So that'll be on my own channel, probably the week of Thanksgiving with my friend Bob and friends reviewing Bob Dylan's concert. But that's it with me.
Cool. Talk more talk. We just posted our episode on now and then. We had a guest, John Montana, on, who is an extraordinary bass player. He's been at the fest several times doing a bass clinic. Featuring what else? Paul's bass playing. We talked about that. Our next episode, which will be posted on the Monday of Thanksgiving week, we will be reviewing the Red and Blue album. And so again, I've been just having a fun time listening to that. I've mentioned several times that the earlier period is not my favorite period of the Beatles, but I do appreciate it. That, and I'm enjoying listening to these tracks again. To be honest with you, just because I just don't play them as much as I used to.
Sure.
So going back and
Early Beatles is just as
reevaluating.
good as
Yeah.
later Beatles, man.
No,
They
oh,
really are.
absolutely. And it just reminds me of the energy in those songs. It's just fantastic. Love that stuff. So again, our latest episode is up now, talking about Now and then we'll be talking about the Red and the Blue the week of Thanksgiving. So thank you to everybody that has watched that show and has subscribed to Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles videocast. We're seeing a lot more subs coming in, so we appreciate that. And speaking of a lot more subs coming in, we appreciate everybody watching this show on YouTube and subscribing to this show, whether or not from the word of mouth or just from other shows, mentioning us. Thank you for that. And that just brings me up to this one last point I want to make that we said earlier. We all do these shows. We all have our own opinions, and you can agree with us or disagree with us. But to I'm not the biggest fan of reaction videos, okay? But you know what? I'm not going to make a video pointing out people's reactions. I just think that's stupid and it's lame. As Shatner said in a great Saturday Night Live skit, get a life. And
peace and love.
That's peace and love. Anyways, so for us, if you if you have an idea for a show, if you just want to tell us how great we are or how bad we are, it doesn't matter. Email
whatever
podcast.
No, yeah. Whatever gets you through the night, as John says.
Whatever gets you through. Yeah, exactly. Email us at twolegspodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. All the comments on the YouTube, on the YouTube channel has been great. Thank you for those. What else, Andy? What else we got? We're hoping to get the part 2 of the Paul and George relationship show going here real soon with our friend Owen Ling.
We'll also be doing a show on Paul's podcast, A Day in the Lyrics, with Paul Muldoon. We're going to do a show on that as well too, because those have really been interesting to listen to as they come about too, and so we'll have a show about that as well, highlighting and cherry picking the best bits that we've listened to.
Right. So look forward to that. So as always, more stuff to come. We're going to finish the year. On
a high note.
On a high note, exactly.
And
look forward to seeing what 2024 is going to bring for us. And it's gonna. I hope you all out there watching and listening are going to come along for the ride, because we don't plan on slowing this train down anytime soon. So again, for my friend Andy Nichols, I'm Tom Hunyadi. As always, it's just great talking to you, Andy, and
you too, man.
Thank you all for being here with us. So, as I say, have a great day and a beautiful night. Take care, everyone.
Listening to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan Seavey.
Get a life, will you, people? Crying out loud, it's just a TV show.